Hey man, how's it going? Oh my goodness gravy. We're back. We're freaking back. So guys, I I randomly stumbled upon this and I decided to share it. So here we are. This is The Witcher, an adult parody, it says, which whatever. They say 80s dark fantasy film. I don't know why it's 80s. I don't see 80s on this, but okay. Anyway, we're going to be watching this and I'm going to be sharing with you just I guess let's just get into it. I mean, I'll just be sharing with you some of my thoughts.
Monsters.
You know, in general, it'll be about AI. Because, you know, you see something like this, and it makes your mind go places. Sexual places, not for the sodomites. However, it makes you think about a lot of stuff, and I don't really know where movies, television, and gaming are going to go, because I don't think that AI is a feasible future right now. I don't see the creativity in AI. However, AI provides something. Oh, geez. You know, so many people nowadays who lack creativity are in the role of making these films and this television and these games. So it's like, you know, AI effectively is now better than these freaking clowns. You know, it's like actual creative people, dudes, overwhelmingly. You know, AI is just not going to come close to those dudes. But sadly, I don't really know where games are going or any of this media. I don't really know where it's going because it's like the way it's being designed is not very creative. And I don't honestly believe that AI has a very developmental future in making anything truly creative, right? However, AI does certain things well, and there's certain things that it doesn't do so well. It's a little bit weird, I guess you could say. Here's one thing about it. You look at this monster here, and this is how dragons are supposed to look, or beasts are supposed to look in most of AI creations, like overwhelmingly. And I don't know why, but dragons are just never effectively made. And it's been a while like this now. I don't know why. You know, it's been this way for at least 2 years, I think. So, anyways, let's continue here. And the voiceover's pretty trash, obviously, I would say, but, you know, whatever.
Monsters. Magic. Betrayal.
I mean, here's the thing with AI, it's really good on women. It's really good on women. Dear God. Holy mother of... God, dang. Ow, she girl. Dang. You know, and that's the thing with the AI, is that it can make better women than anything that we're getting nowadays. Everything that we get nowadays just makes freaking trash. You know? I mean, the women that they hired for the Witcher television show, terrible. Absolutely terrible. They had no idea what the frick they were doing. But, and the women were not attractive either. What the F? You know, there's a bunch of hot chicks out there and they just didn't bother to hire them. So, you know, this is better. I mean, this is just like, this is the type of chick that they should have gotten for the show. But they didn't do that. And if they did get a chick like this, I mean, every dude and his freaking retarded brother would be jacking it right now in the dark corner of the room. But we're not there right now, are we? And I would join them. And I would be right there with them. degenerates together. Not sodomites, but degenerates all the same. So anyways. Yes. Man, those breasts look absolutely amazing. Jeez Louise. And when I say they look amazing, I mean motorboat. Out of 10.
Get into my...
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going at 2 times. Oh, mother frickin' I. Okay. Let's chill for 2 seconds. Okay. 1 time speed.
Monsters.
Yeah, oh
Magic.
man. It's so weird
Betrayal.
and uncanny. But chicks are looking better and better through AI. Oh man.
Way too many people trying to get into my... Well, to get me.
This is so... You know what I love about this? For some reason, Henry Cavill looks the best. The women look kind of weird, but... it might be... The women look weird possibly because AI is typically only good at focusing on the subject, and then everything that's tertiary or secondary to the subject, it puts a lot less of the resources into that. So it might be that the women are just secondary in the scene, and that's why some of them look weird. I don't know. But, I mean, the women look like freaking Nordic chicks who need to get ran through by a freaking Nordic Chad. An Aryan king.
Just another day in the life of a witcher. All I wanted was to sleep.
Man, why is everything so trash nowadays? But yeah, look at these chicks, man. Love of
Slay
God.
beasts, drink ale, and avoid unnecessary drama. No.
Oh man, but it's so awkward. Like these scenes are so
To
weird.
slay beasts, drink ale, and avoid unnecessary drama.
It's so uncanny.
No. Fate had other plans. And her name? Siri.
That's not how you spell Siri, but you know how it is. Yeah, that's a way more attractive Siri.
A princess.
Man, but AI. See, it's like at some point, I'm kind of like wondering to myself, why am I covering this? But you know what's funny? And I'm not saying this is gonna happen with this video, but every time I'm sitting down with a video and I'm like, why the frick am I here? I end up getting views. I don't know. What the frick? I guess if I just sit down and I have no purpose in why I'm here, it just works out, right? So who knows? This may or may not do well, this video. And that's not really the purpose why we're doing this, but anyways.
A runaway.
I mean, what the frick though? She looks, yeah, I mean, it just feels super uncanny and out of place.
The
And kind of cringe.
most powerful woman.
And look at the way that the facial expressions are operating. It's like a weird, it's like you're just doing a field testing of different expressions, right? Suddenly this expression, suddenly that expression. It's just, it doesn't really know how to follow the tonality of a scene. But nice braids. Those Nordic Viking Aryan princess braids.
On the continent. Who just happens to attract trouble.
Yeah, oh my god. The facial expressions, like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's weird. But nice breasts. I would totally clap those breasts.
I don't believe in destiny.
With my penis. What the frick is that? You know, it looks like something that would be seen in Remnant 2, honestly. Or, I don't know, something else. Yeah, nah, it's weird. It's weird. That's like weird futuristic armor for Geralt.
But somehow every road leads me to a bar, a fight, or...
And then Yennefer looks... God, holy mother... Never mind, no. But anyways, I'm getting lost in space, specifically within her breasts.
Yennefer's bedroom.
Dear God.
Yennefer.
Bro, 10 out of 10. Literally 10 out of 10. Would pump and dump again. Oh, man.
Mysterious. Beautiful. Deadly. The kind of woman who makes you forget your name and occasionally sets your clothes on fire.
Did she go from like young to
Kind
like
of woman who
middle
makes you
age.
forget your
Nice breasts though.
name and occasionally sets your clothes on fire. And Jaskier,
I don't know who this freaking homosexual is. He kind of looks like Henry Cavill, but not.
annoying. Yes, useful, still
Well, now he looks like a different dude.
undecided, but he does make a great distraction.
And this is why we need to save the white race. This right here. This is the reason to save the white race. I don't see any problems here.
When you need
The
to
women look right. The dudes look right. They don't look dysgenic. Nothing.
escape through a window. Triss. Fiery, seductive,
Would clap those cheeks. Absolutely.
and still pretending I won't eventually fall for her. Can't blame a woman for trying.
Still pretending I won't eventually fall for her. Can't blame a woman for trying? Interesting. I don't remember that being a line in the books. I don't know where this dialogue is coming from.
You fall for her. Can't blame a woman for trying. Witchers don't feel, unless it's a well-placed kick below the belt.
What's going on here? Are we now in Lord of the Rings? Like, is this Minas Tirith? Like, what are we doing? Oh, man. This is my thing, man. Like, with this video, it's like, what the frick is AI becoming? I just, like, yeah, AI is this, but it's like, right? This is just weird. It's weird. It's experimental. We're looking at something experimental and high quality within being experimentative. But however, it doesn't mean anything. And I said this before, many videos back. I said this in one of the Rings of Power trailer reactions. I think the first one I did. I said that AI, although it's good, it has no ego and it has no soul. You know, a part of soul is your ego, has no identity. It doesn't have what possesses humanity. So there's no meaning behind anything. It's just random vistas where you have more questions as to what the F is happening, more than you're just sitting back and you're like, oh, well, that means something. Oh, wow, that hit me deep, right? Huge emotional delivery on the concepts and ideas and themes of the characters in the storyline. We don't get that with AI.
The Nilf Guardians are coming. Again. Kahir leads them, hunting Ciri like she owes him
A
money.
Roman alpha male soldier.
The sorceresses, playing their usual power games. Tisaya, cold as ice. And the elves. Let's just say
Like you know what's amazing about this is that it's like girl boss mode, engaged with all these characters. Like it's mostly just women apparently that are the titular characters outside of like one dude and Geralt.
Francesca
But dang, I would clap those cheeks
is done playing.
and clap those lips.
She's got an army that doesn't mind getting hands-on.
She doesn't. Wait. Dude, she's got an army that doesn't mind getting hands on. What are we talking about, man? Well, we're gonna like seriously, man. You're just gonna sexually take on the entire army. I'm gonna slay these men and women with my penis. It's not gay if it's also women involved.
She's got an army that doesn't mind getting hands-on.
Okay, they said this was a parody, okay? So it might just be like weird sexual innuendos for no good reason.
But it started with her. Renfrey. deadly, gorgeous,
I don't know who this chick is, but I'm down bad.
and very, very bad for my health. Some call me the Butcher. Some call me the White Wolf. Some just call me late at night with unusual requests. Destiny's a but so am I.
Oh man. Yeah. So there's that it's listen man, why am I here? Well, hey guys, that was a video. That's it. That's all folks. Yeah, I mean I was just checking this out and I was like, wow. But I'll end some of my thoughts about this. I think that AI is going in a weird direction. By the way, it definitely mixed right here, Geralt with a dragon, which, go figure. AI is weird, and I just see the future direction that we're going with this. I don't know what games are going to look like moving past this point. I mean, I don't know what anything is going to look. Seriously, like, what is creativity going to look like as we move into the future? That's my real question when I look at stuff like this. It's like, where are we headed? Like, seriously, what is the next Witcher going to be like? Whatever is the next Witcher, whatever is any of this stuff. When we get the next franchise, I don't know what the frick would that. I think we're past the point of like actual creative works that have existential meaning. Outside of a few select people that can actually do it. And, maybe we'll find our way back. We might. I don't know, though, yet. I could see, yeah. But we're not getting the right... Okay. Here's something I said before, and I'll say this again. When an industry doesn't have a bunch of people trying to be in it, the only people left are the people who qualify. When everybody wants to be in something, suddenly many people who don't qualify or don't belong or they're subpar, sub-average, they end up littering the market. That's what ends up happening. So when everyone wasn't in movies, a lot of people wanted to have movies and be in movies. Once everybody wanted to be in movies and they got into movies, nobody wanted to now be in movies because not everyone is valuable. Not everyone is attractive. Not everyone is appealing or thoughtful or intelligent. Very specific people have thoughts that will actually genuinely get you thinking. There are actual men out there that have a way with words, an ability to speak their mind, unlike others. They have an access to the window of the soul that others don't have. You have many women that are just simply more attractive than other women. And, people want to believe that everyone's equal and that everyone qualifies. No, you don't. And your genetics, they made it so. Yes. It determined it for you. You should have asked your parents to go through the eugenics program, but then some retard told them it wasn't okay. So anyways, moving on. But what we're looking at is just the fact that like television and movies and in gaming sucks because now everyone believes that they belong in it. Because now we believe it's an industry for everyone. It's an industry of inclusion and not supremacy, not exclusivity, right? An industry should be made of the best, should be made of people who are highly selected remember Hugh Hefner with Playboy? Just look throughout the years. Look at the women from Playboy. When Hugh Hefner was around, very specific tastes. And women, it was like 8 out of 10 times that they were just hot, bombshells. A lot of them were blonde. And yeah, because blonde women are hot, right? And just, European women in general. But regardless, Hugh Hefner's run with Playboy, women were just freaking stellar. And they were all hot, and he had amazing selectivity with women. I mean, freaking 10 out of 10. He was typically really good. And honestly, it seemed like the longer he went, the better he got at selection. I'm just going to be honest. Or maybe that was just because of the internet and made more women available. Maybe that's what it is. Regardless, he was really good at selecting women. Regardless. And ever since his son took over, now we have a diversity hour, DEI, Playboy models. And yes, a lot of them are black. And yes, nobody cares anymore. Because yes, black women are not as desirable as white women. Yeah, you know, and I'm not going to go into that because I'll just work myself up into a freaking rant. Anyways, but like now, Playboy has no value. I don't know what like the stocks are of Playboy, but I'm sure that if you invested in the stocks, I'm sure it's going down, and I'm sure it's not going to recover unless they specifically say we're banning all women outside of like certain Latin chicks, which does not mean Hispanic. Well, okay, again, Latin, so like Brazilian, maybe Venezuelan, those types of chicks. You know, the chicks that the Spaniards slung their peepees with. Those women, yes, they're attractive, you know, because Spaniards are what? They're European blood, more Spanish European blood, right? But, you know, European nonetheless. Then you have the French, which is like a mixture of, right, Spanish and also Germanic, and a mixture of like kind of Russian, right? But, you know, German is more of a descendant, a variation of Russian, and so on and so on and so on, etc. So anyways, you know, but you know, there's certain Latin chicks, super hot, super mother effing hot. But then you've got obviously like overwhelming majority of freaking European women are just freaking bombshells all across the board. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'm lost at words, and I'm jerking off as we speak about it. Why are there 4 commas there? Or not commas, periods? This ellipses right here is literally extended. That's weird. Anyways, probably because why it was a censor. I guess that's what it's for. Anyway, but you know, so regardless though, like look at what is Playboy today, and it's nothing like what it used to be. And you look at any of these things, the more that everybody believes that they belong in an industry is the more that industry becomes watered down. The less people in anything just makes it better. Because again, the less people in that thing means that only the people who actually want to freaking bust their tail and actually prove their existence within that thing, whatever it is, could be photography. If every dude and his brother's like, oh, I need to become a photographer, well, you're going to get a lot of crap photographers. But when a very select group of dudes are just like, I want to be a photographer, you end up getting the best photographers on average. And that's where we're at with anything, is that it's just simply whenever we enter saturation of anything, you end up having the worst people. They become some very common actors. You know, and that's where we're at right now with movies. That's where we're at with games. That's where we're at with books. By the way, do not forget Charles Arlington on Amazon if you actually want proper storytelling. If you actually want a story that's worth investing in. I am making the stories that are actually worth something. If you don't pick them up, then you probably want to end yourself. But anyways, and you probably should. But anyways. Go check out my stuff, Charles Arlington, and literally just pick up any of my work. Any of it's good, any of it works. So, and like literally just read all of it and start at any book. But obviously I have my favorites. Right now, I'm really enjoying The Realm Lords Apocrypha, which I've only done book 1. So we have a lot of books to be getting into. But regardless, so just back to the point I was making is that whenever everybody wants to get into an industry, that's when it becomes trash. And that's where the most entitled actors, that's where they join in. And that's where the people who don't put their work and they don't put their time and they don't put their energy. It's not, you know, and I have to say this, there are retards out there who think that hard work necessitates reward, right? It's like, well, I put all my time into doing this thing, so everyone should obviously understand I'm good at what I'm doing. No, putting your time into something doesn't make you good. You have a lot of people who do this about like YouTube videos. People say that, oh, you know, quality content. You gotta edit all day. You gotta make it sure it's really edited and really make sure that you get the most editing on your video. And it's like, you're a freaking retard. You know, the amount of video transitions that you do and the amount of zoom ins and zoom outs. Yeah, sure. You know, some retards, they might like that, but there's no substance behind video editing. There is substance behind what someone has to think and what they have to say and how they communicate their thoughts and their ideas and how they process and reason, which most people are very generic in their processing and their reasoning. They don't have proper rhetoric or go down the list. A lot of people don't think out the premise and then the process to the conclusion. Most people just think of conclusion when they think of their thinking, or they just get stuck on the premise. People are not very good at completing their thoughts. It's just that simple. And so you have a lot of people out there who are like this, and then they use video editing to save themselves. But right, who are the most successful people on average? It's people who can what? They can finish their own thoughts. They can think for themselves. And there's some interesting psychological aspects about that because if you want to work with other people, sometimes, especially that person's more successful than you, they don't like it when other people think for themselves, typically. So it's like when you do think for yourself, you typically end up being the personality type of someone that wants to do their own thing, like an entrepreneur or, you know, freelancer, whatever. You kind of direct your own kind of, your own sort of work ethic or your own direction, whatever that is. And there are many jobs for that. So it makes sense that that's a personality type, right? Like, for instance, like carpenters, you're typically just doing work on your own, right? Like blacksmiths, you're not really, there's no networking necessarily needed for that. It's just your services. Obviously, though, you do need networking because you need clients and all that kind of crap as a blacksmith, as a carpenter. But it's just like, it's not as necessary. There's not a network of people that gets a sword built necessarily. Yeah, that's an interesting distinction to actually think of because there's an institution of people that's giving a blacksmith their materials, but the blacksmith is ultimately purchasing those, and the labor is what is individualistic. But then you have labor that is collectivistic, and very well probably shouldn't be, but it is for whatever reasons. And then you also have the way that you receive supply, right, for the work that you're doing through the collective. And there's a lot of examples for that. I mean, like Hollywood, for instance, is heavily collectivistic. You could, heavily collectivistic, absolutely. The supply, collective, right? Yeah, that's interesting. But it's whenever you're within a certain system that you end up within these kind of collectivist methods of labor. And that is an interesting distinction. So that's something I'm going to have to think more about because that is an interesting distinction of collectivist workflows and work groups. And then you have individualistic workflows and work groups, right? And obviously for different personality types. So anyway, so back to this. So I can just run this again, but on
Monster.
On mute. So anyways, man, oh man, those are nice breasts. What's the freaking up? Jeez Louise. Again, give me the eugenics program. But yeah, man, like I look at stuff like this and I wonder to myself, where is AI going? And furthermore, where are creative properties? Where are they going? Because it's like, it's one thing to have people that look like this. It's one thing to have these characters. And I think that eventually we're going to have workarounds for all of this. But like right now, it's still the case that you got to ask the question though, like, where is creativity? And dang, I would totally clap those cheeks. She has 2 belly buttons, by the way. That's kind of weird. But like, seriously, no. Where is the future of creativity going? Because right now we have too many people that have saturated books. The best people in books are being overlooked. That's absolutely true. But then we also have the movies that's way too saturated now. We have all the wrong people in it. And then we have television, right? We also have the saturation there. And now we have gaming that also has a form of saturation. So I sincerely think to myself about all of this. It's like, where are we headed? Are we going to get, or when are we going to get, or if are we going to get actually good stories again, good products, good creative, imaginative properties? When are we going to get there? Because right now, we're not even close, right? And with AI, you look at this, again, it's soulless. It's meaningless. It's just a bunch of weird vistas. Yeah, the women are super attractive, but that's the best thing. There's nothing else that you're getting out of this. You know? Man, that's what's so weird about all this. I don't know what the frick is going on with the scenes are so uncanny too. It's so weird. It's so weird. Just look at it, man. It's so discomforting. Oh man, that's so weird. Yeah, so it's weird, man. So again, it's like I just think like what this gets me thinking about is where are future properties going? Where are our ideas going? How creative are people actually going to be with AI? Is AI going to be creative? Where are the ideas? And that's the question right there. You can do all this stuff and you can copy what is, but can you actually make something and progenerate into something that can be? Can you do that? Because that's the problem here. That is the exact issue. When I look at something like this, I just think to myself, okay, that's cute and all, but where are we going to get new ideas? Where are we going to get the next greatest story? Where are we going to get great imaginative world building? And, you know, right? And not in the way that most people think of it. Just proper. It's not like, oh, you know, you got to fulfill a trope or you got to fulfill an algorithm, right? We got to fulfill the trends because that's what we're not talking about. The people that chase after results. We're talking about the people that understand the very soul of what it is that they're doing, right? The very existential core of what they're working on, right? George Lucas, when he made Star Wars, he wasn't concerned about trends. He wasn't concerned about algorithms. He wasn't concerned about ROI, right? Let's make sure that we get the return on investment. It was about, what am I telling to people? What am I telling to men? What am I telling to young men, young boys? What am I doing here? And what existential purpose and value does this have, not only for me, but for the country of America, right? My fellow countrymen. What does this mean for everyone? Because it was an existential practice for Lucas. It wasn't just an economical practice. So, and nowadays, everyone's just an economical actor, let's just face it. And the people who are existential actors, they're not. They're just ideological actors. So we're in this weird, timeline where are the existentialist creators? And that's really what it means. Whenever you're making something great, there's an existential soul, being, presence within your work. When you lose the soul within what it is that you're doing, well, that's where your work suffers. Your work doesn't exist at all. Your work must be immersive. To be immersive is to be based within reality. And in order to be based in reality, you must be immersive, right? They both feed into one another. And a part of that is reinforced by authenticity, by, what's the other term? that I've used in the past. Traditionalism, conventionalism, right? Fundamental values from throughout your life, or rather throughout the generations, right? Proven ideals, proven concepts, proven frameworks of mind. That's what matters so much. Every great story has a certain archetype of man that throughout the generations, you can respect that man. Every great idea has something implicit to itself that is reciprocative throughout the generations, but it's also reproducible. What's the other term? It is, it's reliable. There's another word for it, but anyways, it's reliably reproducible, and it always brings about proper results, right? And that's what gives anything true value. A great story is something that has value. The narrative has value 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 500 years ago. The Bible, right? The most valuable text in all of human history, as much as modern day retard atheists, otherwise known as racists. But no, seriously, retard atheists, they love to sit there and act like the Bible has no value. There's a reason why. It has stood the test of time, and it has value for people. And when you read it, it does carry across a weird value with itself that nothing else does. Like, I would love for the atheists, please go make your Bible. Go make a Bible. You do it. You guys have all the answers. Oh, that's right, you don't. You don't. There's something magical. And there's something, the reason why these things, they stand the test of time. They stand the test of multiple generations, no matter whether or not most of the generation, right? Most of the men are grapists and they're running around just freaking grabbing women by force. It still has value, the Bible. And then you go a couple of years and then the men are not graping everybody, and then it still has value, okay? This is a text that has value regardless of who the people are. And anything that is worth its salt, it always has value no matter the generation. And that's what we see when we look at the Odyssey. Even though I have my criticisms of the Odyssey, mostly that people overblow it. They act like it's like, oh, wow, this is such a great story. And wow, this is a piece of literary great work or whatever. I don't know. People sit there and they're like, wow, the Odyssey is just such a legendary piece of fiction. No, there's ways to have made it better and make it more interesting as a story. However, it still services the point of its design. What any story is designed to do. And a great story is always designed to express generational value and to properly encapsulize it in such a way you don't explain everything about the values, but you go into enough detail to have like a bird's eye view of depth into that culture, and you don't need any more study to understand the kind of workings and the facilitations of civilization at that time, or you know, I mean, at that time, because we're talking about the pinnacle or the peak of civilization. But more specifically, what we're talking about here is that this is a value of the writing is expressing it's proving a pinnacle of value, a pinnacle of ideal, that no matter what generation you're in, you can recognize and notice the functionality of that ideal, right? A big theme in the Odyssey is hospitality. A big theme is like cordiality, showing gratitude, and that through having a culture of those in your society, people showing gratitude to one another and showing hospitality to one another, is that even the beggar is equal to the nobleman when you conduct yourself within your society in such a way that everyone is gracious for wherever they're at, and they give to each other as much as is proper or dutiful to your fellow countrymen, right? So people, they don't overstay their welcome, and everyone chooses to trust each other enough that you show the hospitality, that you share a banquet with a beggarman. Now, of course, the beggarman that was Odysseus in the Odyssey. Clearly Athena, she was transfiguring his face to look different, but there was still like that feeling that this is Odysseus following with him, right? Like the persona, the personality, the character, the integrity of a hero is in Odysseus, despite the fact that he's concealed by Athena's spell that conceals his identity, right? So regardless, who he is as a man still carries with him, despite whether or not you see his face. And that is what justifies and merits him to hold court with the king and his princesses, his daughters, who wanted to bang Odysseus. What's up? Oh, man. Yo, girl, what's up? I'm only swinging on by, but I can definitely clap those cheeks. Anyways. Yeah, so anyways. But, like that, it's just like there's all these implicit ideas to the story of the Odyssey. And how both Penelope and Odysseus are crying throughout their stories until they're reunited at the end, right? Because they both are grieving because they're forlorn lovers and, well, husband and wife, but they love each other so much that, as Calypso is banging Odysseus and having weird demigod sex with him on the regular, he's just weeping every time she's banging him, which is kind of funny. But yeah, he's weeping, and it's because he misses Penelope, and there's of course all the other women that make moves on Odysseus. It's kind of funny, but there's so many things packed within that entire story of what it means and the value of the people and how they are within, how they're placated within their culture. In the if that's the right word to use, and I don't care. You know what? That's the way I want to use my freaking words, because alpha male energy. But yeah, it's like there's so much that comes with that. With the design of the narrative, design of the story, design of the characters, design of everything. And we're just seeing how these characters behave and how they express themselves. And it gives you a window into the soul of a time. And that soul and window into its time, it proves itself by its reproducible value across generations. And that's where love of God, how long is this video becoming, by the way? This was supposed to be short, and here we are. This is always how man, I am really whack wild. And anyways, man, we are finna clap those cheeks. But it shows you that window of time, and depending on the reproducible latent value of that time, then it becomes regenerative across the generations, where everyone picks up that story and it still has newfound value within changing generations and their desires and their needs and their wants, whatever. And that's why there's this idea of like classical literature and classical fiction and so on. There's a reason why this kind of work is seen as something that is classical, something that is fundamental to civilization, because it has that value, and it proved itself through the progression of generations and time. So when I look at this sort of AI work and this sort of AI stuff, what I really start asking to myself, and I'm wondering to myself, is where's this going? Like, what is the existential core of AI anything? AI film, AI gaming, whatever. Where is the soul? And what's the generational value that we are now passing down? And are we going to lose? And I think this is far-fetched to say, but I think it is worth just saying it, because I think it's a genuine concern, because there's a possibility, I think more than ever, it feels like it, to be asking this question. which is, are we losing the sense of existentialist storytelling? Are we losing the soul of storytelling? Are we going into a future that is soulless, where everything is not personified by a more endemic, proven existential value of one's own persona, personality, or their features, whatever, right? Are we moving into a future where there's no soul or spirit to the work? The genuine question I have, and that's my main concern when I look at stuff like this, is like, are we either just going to look at this is the thing, we don't know where AI is going. But my biggest question is AI going anywhere to which we will actually continue to get great stuff that lands deep with you and has generational value? Are we going to have that? Or is AI going to be a weird fad that's going to make a lot of people money? It's going to take over the market, but it doesn't actually convey the soul and the essence of neither the artist nor the civilization, the culture to which they come from. And that's my concern right there. I almost wonder if we're just heading into a weird like meat grinder future of fiction with AI, you know? And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. That's what makes me feel even more uncanny about all of this, is where is that sense of the soul? Where is that sense of the spirit of ego put into and placed within our works? And a part of that is also true creativity, which is something that only humans have. Which is what? What is creativity? Abstraction. The ability to abstract, right? AI is great for looking at the world outside of abstraction, right? Getting data, getting numbers, collecting information. Okay, what is? It's great at collecting what is. But what AI is not good at is, of course, abstracting what is the known and creating an unknown that somehow just feels otherworldly, somehow feels close to home as much as it is non-existent, right? You know, like H.P. Lovecraft is Lovecraftian, or, you know, the Cthulhian and the Eldritch concepts that he had within his work. That stuff feels close to home. You can believe that there's this past civilization of the elder things, right? The elder beings. But it never existed. But it's a weird latent idea that you're like, that probably could have existed or did, you know, and you're sitting there and you're like, you know, this idea of these like eldritch beings that can teleport across the cosmos through the alignment of the stars. And then, you know, how they show themselves through, they're not really by force of anything. They don't express themselves by force, but through the mind, through the dream worlds, right? Through your nightmares, that through the minds, they have this ability to manipulate your senses with certain smells and tastes, or they elicit these things and they can mind control you and they can influence you by how they possess your mind rather than how they actually fight you instead. So that's very interesting that it feels so close to home. It's this otherworldly idea. And I'm going to be honest, if you study aliens, you know, all this UFO stuff and alien stories, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if any of this stuff is real, right? We don't know anything, but it's like, I'm going to be honest though, this stuff sounds like Lovecraft and everything he was talking about. There's a lot of weird synergy between Lovecraft and the stuff that he was making, and then everything having to do with, you know, UFOs and aliens. There's weird synergy there. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And if, you know, aliens are real and, you know, then Lovecraft is basically expressing something weird. And I wonder if he has like, maybe he had, you know, classified documents that he read into and then he just turned it into fiction. I don't know. It kind of feels that way, but whatever it is, I mean, he was tapping into something that is otherworldly. It is like the angels and the demons of our reality and personifying it within this imaginative landscape, which was his work, right? His writing. So, and I think that, you know, so anyways, like, can AI do this though? Can AI take something and give to us something that feels close to home, even though it doesn't exist? Because Lovecraft, he could do that. A bunch of great storytelling. I mean, George Lucas with Star Wars, it feels close to home and it doesn't exist. So that's, man, And, you know, the possibility is that these things do exist, by the way, like telepathy, things like telepathic communication, you know, stuff like the Force. The Force very well could actually exist. Maybe we need technology, or maybe there are people who talk about psionics, and they talk about how it's very real. We actually have people who have a certain attunement, and it's the way that they're born. They have a certain attunement to psionics, and they can actually read your mind. And the evidence is growing on this, but we don't know absolutely for sure yet. But if this turns out to be absolutely correct and true, then dude, that's freaking crazy, because that's psionics. The Force is psionics. And then that means that there's certain people have they're more attuned with psionic potential than other people. And then there's all kinds of things with that. I mean, if we start learning more about the human condition and the human state of mind, and we actually start truly understanding the full scope of what we are, you know, if these things are uncovered, then it's just like looking into the future. I mean, things look very weird, but outside of that, just outside of all that, you know, but like, this is what our creativity does, is that it possesses something that has the possibility of being true, and it turns it into a very fascinating idea that is encapsulated within so much ideal and so much, principle and virtue, you know, things of high worth and value that it generates across the generations. And we continue to hold on to it, and we continue wanting to adapt ourselves and immerse ourselves within these worlds and these characters and their themes and the stimuli that surrounds them as well. So anyways, man, you know, those are all my thoughts. And that's pretty much why I wanted to address this. Now, I have no idea how long this video is right now. I'm sure that this video is freaking crazily long, because, you know, I'm a chatty mother effing Kathy, but I mean, whatever. I mean, right. This is the reason I covered this video. This is what it got me thinking about. And this is what I've just kind of been processing. It's where we're going, I think, right now in the future with our media. I don't know what the frick to think. I think that is very questionable. And I do fear for the death of creativity. I don't want to see that. Anyways, man, I'll catch you guys on the next video.